An event planner, marketer, and business leader, Erin Leonard inspires others to turn their passions into their careers. A leader in creating experiences and engaging audiences, Erin founded Erin Leonard Events in May of 2019, which in turn created the Speaker LaunchPad in 2020. To fill the need for event planners to quickly find engaging, diverse, and inspiring speakers. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our fearless leader and an inspiring voice in her own right, Erin Leonard.
All right, well, let's talk about something really important to me, and that's finding your why and running with it. Did you know that you have a superpower? It's true. You have something that is truly unique to you, your talent, your skills, your experience and expertise. And this is something that's probably been part of you your whole life that you may not have necessarily noticed or been able to put your finger on, but it's a driving force in your journey. And this thing, this really important superpower of yours, it's your why. Your why is really articulating that special skill set that you have, that thing that transcends all of your experiences, that thing that more than anything else gets you out of bed in the morning, makes you have your best possible day. You know you're fulfilling your why when you leave the day feeling full, excited, inspired, maybe a little bit exhausted, but more than anything else, so happy with how you spent your time that day. And I'm mostly talking about professionally, because that's where we spend most of our time. But this is a connection to something deeper than just work. This is a personal connection to your profession, a personal reason, an impact you are going to have on the world, the thing that you, in many ways, feel like you exist to do. And as humans, as people, we're really used to and comfortable with having this kind of reason for existence, this raison d'etre, if you will. Oh, boy, that was some bad French. But we all feel this sometimes, but it's really important to go beyond just feeling it. You really have to articulate it, because once you articulate it, you can run with it, and that can change your life. One of my favorite quotes when thinking about this actually comes from one of my favorite philosophers, ironically, Soren Kierkegaard. And he says, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And that's the truth of the matter. We're living forward. We're constantly pushing forward. We have a past that we can see behind us, a trail that led us to where we are. We don't necessarily know where we're going in the future, but we do know we're marching forward. There's no way around that in the passing of time. But when you look backwards, you can start to see threads that connect to something much bigger. Tendencies, experiences, memories, things that have brought you and shaped you and made you who you are today, which is exactly how you're going to find where it is you're going and define and build and push forward every single day. I'll tell you a little bit about me and my experience and how I discovered my why. So a lot of my why comes through in the company I founded, and that's so much of the story I have to tell. I started my business, Erin Leonard Events, back in 2019. And before I had done that, before I had really articulated and understood my why, I had a lot of common themes in my life. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, a place filled with incredible events and parties and atmosphere, a place that creates shared experiences. Heck, I mean, from April to June, there's pretty much a festival every single day. And before that, there's this little thing we do before Easter and after the new year called Mardi Gras, which is likewise creates these incredible, joyous celebrations that literally take over the streets. They don't just spill into the streets, they are the streets. And in those moments, we create these connections to our communities. We see our neighbors, our friends. We borrow their bathrooms. We share food, beverages, space. We keep each other safe in some ways. We also celebrate each other. And that's just a parade. There's a lot of those. There's like 50 of them every year in New Orleans. beyond just that, I also was someone that was very involved in after school programs my entire life. I was starting in even as an elementary school, running for student council. I believe I was vice president then, maybe treasurer. I don't really remember, but I was something. And in high school, when I really look back, I absolutely adored so many of my classes and teachers. But the number one thing that drove me was being part of student council and being part of throwing pep rallies for our school, being a member of the band and a cheerleader. I did both of those at different times, but going to those crucial events, those sports games, those rallies, those moments of shared experience. And after I left all of that and I graduated high school and I went away to college, I actually went really far away to Boston, Massachusetts, and attended Northeastern University. Go Huskies. There, I actually, in my second year, landed my first co op, which was a full time 6-month job in a city councilor's office. Now, I had interviewed for many positions. I really wanted this job in particular, but there were a lot of jobs that I wanted. There are a lot of really, really cool opportunities and experiences. And the thing that I learned from that, that changed my life forever, was the power of creating and building a government that really represents and supports its people. And I felt so empowered every single day, waking up to be an intern in a city council office, because what I was doing today was I was going to a community meeting. I was going to meet with people who had needs, unmet needs, that had problems, that had something important to share that needed to be addressed, but didn't always necessarily have the ability to articulate it to the right people who could actually create change. And that's where I came in. I absolutely loved this aspect of my job, of attending community meetings, learning what their needs were, representing something bigger, an opportunity for change. And then, because it was city level government, I was actually able to go right back to the elected officials in charge and get policy passed, or even write it or draft it myself that could actually help these people. And even if that was small and on the smaller city scale, it really mattered. And I could see the efforts, the impact right there in front of me. I could see handicap ramps that we got installed, ADA compliances that we had fixed all across the city because a community came together and advocated for it and got the right people in the room that could actually create that change. Now, that's really hard to ask of a community. That takes a lot of effort and strength for people to be able to come together and have these conversations and then go ask the people that actually help it. But I had an incredible impact in helping those folks, and it inspired me every single day. And one of the best things I ever did, one of the things I'm most proudest of, is actually the first event I ever planned. And when I think about that, when I was in the moment, I did not think I was planning an event. I was planning a town hall in the city of Boston, outside of City Hall. We were hosting a hearing where city councilors would come to the community that wanted to hear them outside of 9 to 5, outside of City Hall, come to them in their streets on their terms and have a community hearing, have an official government meeting in that space. Now, this had not been done before, and it hasn't been done all that many times since, but our community meeting held in Roxbury in Boston, it had hundreds of attendees, had childcare, had food, had the voices of the community speaking directly to the elected officials that represented them. And coming out of that, we were able to address a number of different issues through policy and legislation and enforcement of actual existing policies that were already there that helped this community. Even in small ways, we were doing exactly what I was there for. And so much of this had happened because I pushed for the idea. I came up with it. I pushed for the concept of hosting this community meeting, this hearing outside of City Hall. I pushed for the fact that the number one thing I heard on the ground is that people can't make it to City Hall. The hearings are held in the middle of downtown between Monday and Friday, between 9 and 5, the exact time where people have a commitment called a job or school or raising their family. It's really not a great time for the public to come and tell you what you should be doing, what's being missed in the first place. So by doing this, we were able to also reset our relationship with these people, show that we meant more than just empty words. We were going to show up, we were going to listen to them, and we were going to come to them on their terms in their neighborhood. And ever since that moment, I have used events to create access, to create platforms. Even in that moment, I was creating something bigger than myself, creating a stage, if you will, out of something that wouldn't have existed, and getting those people to come to that stage, all of the important players. I went on to do so many more things in that city councilor's office, including his run for mayor, where I did all kinds of cool events, from fundraisers to happy hours to more community meetings, campaign rallies, volunteer training. I was then able to work in the Obama administration at the White House after working on his campaign as a volunteer. And again, there was this thread throughout of creating events, and the political world is full of events, right? Of creating this space for these conversations and dialogues. Now, events in many ways in my mind kind of oversimplifies what it is I'm trying to do. Because what I'm trying to do, what my superpowers really are, come from building community, organizing around a need. I am someone that is passionate about fighting for the changes I want to see in the world, but also being that important person in between people trying to articulate something to the people that need to hear it. Because articulation can be really, really hard. So I found myself time and time and time again in this kind of communications role, where I was kind of articulating these bigger ideas and problems and translating it into a language that would make sense to bureaucrats, and vice versa. But also problem solving, creativity, giving my all, finding something, creating a process to create a solution and executing it. And also finding and spreading joy. And though that's not often seen in a government or political context, I saw so many smiles in those rooms. I mean, creating joy is also something about allowing a space for people to be heard. And from my experiences all the way with, Mardi Gras from my young age to now planning corporate events and campaign and marketing campaigns and whatnot, joy is something that needs to be all around us and can be as simple as a funny image or a moment of connection or a moment of empathy. And by bringing people together, by creating events, even virtually, or even, a community meeting where people have very different points of view that necessarily aren't going to come together, you're still creating a space for authentic engagement, authentic sharing of the human experience. And most opportunities also come with laughter and joy. So it's like, by just creating a space for people, in many ways, we are helping to create and spread joy, because it is one of the truest human emotions we all feel. So when I look back on my life prior to creating this company and really understanding my why, I see that for the longest time, even before I, had a job or had any concept of what I wanted to be when I grew up, I love to wake up and create a meaningful moment that is going to mean something to the people that come to or experience that moment. So my why, more than anything else, is that I create meaningful moments through experiences. I use events as most of those experiences. And what I like about events, from Mardi Gras to even weddings or corporate retreats or Zoom webinars, is that they're a disruption to the day-to-day life. They really are a moment of pause, of stepping out of your busy day-to-day life and taking a moment to see something different or reflect on something or connect with something. It's an opportunity to really grow and form a connection with someone else or a concept. And I seek to really advance connection and define this shared human experience. In my limited time on this planet, I want to spread joy. I want to create platforms. I want to bring people together. And I want this to be part of something human. I want this to be part of the shared human experience. I just want to be part of it. And I want to do the best that I can to help facilitate, connect that. And when we have those moments, when we have those events that have to happen, because they have to, not necessarily because we really want to do this, but like we have to do this, that even in those moments, we're able to find the thread that connects us all, that creates this shared human experience, that creates shared memories that define who we are and how we think about ourselves. And the great thing about this is that your future, you may not start your own business, but once you find your why, you can find your own complete path in life. Suddenly, doors, roads, everything will unlock and make sense. My superpower, my why, has driven me my entire life. I didn't know it, but when I reflect, I can see it. In the moment, it just made sense. Somebody needs something done. Now I see, I found those opportunities. I was in these positions for those to come my way for a reason. I could add my magic. I could take it over and make it into something amazing. These things fill me with so much joy. So by looking into my past, I can connect why these things make sense and have gotten me to where they have gotten me. And you can do this too. And it doesn't need to be creating your own company at all. It could be a heck of a lot simpler. So first, let's find your why. And the simple formula here is to blank so that blank. What is it that you exist to do so that something happens? Now, there are some great resources on this, and the true expert, in my opinion, who inspires me is Simon Sinek. He's got some fantastic TED Talks about it, books, everything. I highly recommend his workbooks, TED Talks, etc. But to keep it simple, think about what drives you. Dig deep into that concept before moving forward. Look into your past, find those stories. Remember those stories. What were the high points and low points in your life? Find those patterns. What is it that connects these, that drives you, that explains why you then took the actions you took? Then start drafting your why statement to blank so that blank. Keep refining it, work with it until it feels like something you really deeply believe. And don't worry about wordsmithing it too much. You can always finesse it. You can finesse it in the moment. But the truth is, you need to find something that really grabs you. Like for me, it's creating experiences. That's all I exist to do. And the great news here also is that your why is unlikely to change. You might change the words a little bit, you might refine it, but the true deep concept isn't going to change. Now, my why has come into the formation of my business, Erin Leonard Events. And our why is that we exist to create meaningful experiences. And we use events to create a brief oasis in the world, to disrupt day-to-day life, create a space for people to step out of their busy lives and grow, learn, reflect, make human connections. We do this in the form of events, but also websites, marketing, programming, speaker representation, coaching, and we're always using new and emerging forms of media. We're passionate about creating and delivering meaningful, memorable, and powerful shared experiences. Now, this why is so much bigger than my why, because this why is so much bigger than me. I have an entire team backing me up on my why. This why has been refined with them, has been shared with them, and we're always seeking to refine it a little bit more. We're open to changing it, to growing it in the future, but more than anything else, we're committed to this bigger idea together. So again, consider what brings you the most joy. What is the nexus of what you do well and what you love to do? And once you find that why, you can absolutely run with it. And what does that mean? Well, first, set goals and track them. What does this mean? Now that you know your why, what can you do with it? What is it? And I like to get really big thinking about this to start. What is it that your best ultimate future could be in 5 or 10 or maybe even 20 years? What is it you're doing? Paint the picture for yourself and for others, help them understand it. Then break it down into the steps that would be needed to be taken in order to get there. So of course you have to start with your 2021 goals and your, goals for the year and your goals for your quarter and your week, etc. But think big and work backwards. Paint the best, brightest possible future without much reason. Okay. You don't need to, like, don't limit your thinking. It's a fantasy. Run with it. And once you run with that, then bring it down to earth and start to shape it into something that could actually be moved forward in a meaningful amount of time. And think about what this means for you professionally, but also personally. What would have to be true in order to make this vision happen? What is it that is going to make your best or most creative year? And then once you have that and you start to set your goals, get yourself out there. Share your why, talk about it, attract other people to your why. You inherently may find clients or collaborators or partners or people that want to work with you. Get out there where your social network is. Tell folks on LinkedIn or whatever other platforms are most comfortable to you. Get in touch with your network. You need to let them know. For me, that was a newsletter that I got out back in April of 2020 when things started to really shift with coronavirus, and I was feeling the need for connection during the cancellation of events. I just wanted to find a new platform for seeing and connecting with people that I otherwise would see in person, but no longer had that opportunity to. Getting a newsletter out created a new path for talking to people. And it felt amazing to share updates, to share what was going on, but to open up that dialogue in a deeper way beyond just, social feeds, actually getting deep content out there. Tell your family, your friends, tell your neighbors. And then if you do want to leverage this professionally, which could be an absolutely great thing for you, land your first client. Figure out what it's going to take to turn this into a profession. And then if you're going to do that, but regardless of if you're going to launch your own business or freelance career, or if you're going to do this in your existing day job, once you have your why and you're able to kind of shape your world around your why. So if you have a day job, that would mean talking to your boss, trying to realign what it is you do with what it is you're deeply passionate about in a way that also still supports your role or that company, but that also is more aligned with what you want to do. And show them that long-term impact about how they support your long-term vision. You'll be around long-term. You'll be able to contribute in many more ways if you're in the right lane and you're in a place where you can thrive. Once you're there, you got to execute your best work ever. So you have to absolutely deliver on this, especially if you're doing this in a professional context. Personally, that could be execute your best, why ever through whatever those means are. If it's performance, if it's creation, you've got to do it. So spend the time. It's likely to take extra hours, extra energy. Starting something new is hard. It's really hard. You're going to fail. You're going to have lessons learned. You're going to be frustrated. I feel it all the time. It's okay. That's how you know you're doing something new. So don't screw it up in the terms of don't not do this part. You absolutely have to deliver and get the help you need. Remember that you're a person. If you're doing this as a career, it's hopefully you have too much work and you already need to hire help to get the work done because you can't do it all yourself. But once you get this and you find the feet under you, you will be able to learn, grow, get better, and do this much easier and cheaper. And you'll never have to do what you don't want to do again or work with the people you don't want to work with again. It's incredibly liberating and freeing once you really realize the power that one has in and where you put your energy. Then you just got to keep going. Keep the good, learn from the lessons, trust, delegate, communicate, grow yourself, move on from the bad, try not to dwell, definitely reflect, grow, learn, but don't forget. Keep learning from books. I love to listen to audiobooks. Consider joining a coaching program. And more than anything else, don't forget to take care of yourself. I like to tell myself that I'm really just a complex plant. I need sunlight, I need water, I need plenty of oxygen. I need to make sure I'm eating, I need to make sure I'm exercising. And that I need to make sure those things are all being taken care of before I can do any of my stellar, incredible stuff. Before I can execute my why and really live up to why I'm here on this planet. So make sure not to burn out by not working too much. Definitely know your limits. When you hit those limits, communicate that and get the rest you need. You're, of course, going to have to pull extra hours, be resilient, but part of that is also knowing when to stop and being careful not to go too far because recovering from burnout takes a long, long time that you don't have the time to waste. And besides, life is really about what happens outside of work. So find your why, run with it, but also remember that there are different lanes and you need to be a different person at different times of the day. And that at your home relationship, you should be talking about your why. You should be talking about how it's going to fill you up and how this could move you guys forward as a family or as a unit or on your own, how you're going to move this forward in your personal life. But also remember not to put too much energy into everything. You also get time to relax. You need that time. You need that time to also get your mind off of it. You'll have better thoughts, better realizations by not spending more than 50 or no more than 50 or 60 hours a week at absolute maximum. I know that from my experience, that's my absolute breaking point maximum. So find yours. And for me, it's a limit of hours, but find yours, know your boundaries, communicate them. And when people, if anyone steps on them, be sure to communicate that, but not to be angry about it. And who knows, while you're doing all of this, continue your hobbies, continue your friendships, and that will only add more value to your why. It could be that your friendships, your hobbies align even more to your why, and that's why you do them and why you like them, and that perhaps there's a merge there that's going to make you even more happy than it would be if you only thought about this in a professional context. So stay grounded. Don't be afraid to fail. You're absolutely learning. And then, make sure to share your wisdom because the catch of success is that you have to inspire someone else. Don't forget to check in on your goals daily and make sure you're actually scheduling time to accomplish your goals. More than anything else, you need to remember you're the only one with your skills, experience, and perspective. Once you find your why, run with it because more than anything else, the world needs it. It's going to contribute to a better future, a better present, a better world that we're all going to live in. Because while you are living your best life, you could be inspiring dozens or hundreds of people around you. And that could truly make the world a better place. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. Please stay in touch with me. You can find us pretty much everywhere at Erin Leonard Events. We're mostly on Instagram. You can also obviously find us on our website, erinleonardevents.com. And I hope that you have fun finding your why and running with it. I can't wait to see what you do with it. Thanks so much.